So the first round of the lower bracket finals, both champions don't have skins. Last time, Tibs ended up going for a skin Jax, which unfortunately didn't go in his favour. Then he ended up going for a skin Jarvan up against a skin Anivia, which didn't go in his favour, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's kind of sad. Even with some of the people in the Zealot gaming chat just shouting out that Viraleus is the kind of beast with Annie. You'd expect that skin coming out. But yeah, maybe he has enough skill. Maybe he has. He just doesn't need the skin.
And what with Tibs being 1700 elo and 35, and I believe Viraleus is about 1690, correct me if I'm wrong, but both of these champions are, well, statistically, they're quite even. But then again, this is a whole new game.
Well, last game you saw Tibs going for the bushes all the time. And actually this time it's Viraleus who's in the bush and Tibs who's just standing on lane waiting for stuff to happen. It's a change of game actually.
Absolutely. So both champions end up going for the boot and 3 pots style play. I do quite like that, if being perfectly honest. That maneuverability by both champions is very nice.
Tibs just scouting some out.
Tibs going for a charge on the second turret by himself before destroying the first one at level 1 with no creeps. That's always how you want to play. So Viraleus still hanging out rather nicely, and
this might be something.
Oh, a nice Q.
This is going to be in favour of Nidalee, actually.
Oh, very much in favour of Tibs right there. Both champions end up popping those health pots, and I think that Tibs got the slight upper hand.
Yeah, just a little bit.
That javelin throw ended up doing more damage than the Q of Viraleus.
Viraleus?
Well,
it's an Annie.
It's Viraleus.
Oh, Viraleus. Okay, I misunderstood. Sorry.
Yeah, I prefer saying the people's actual names compared to champion name.
Yeah, okay. I'll stick to that then.
Excuse me. So, Nidalee has a very nice mechanic, one that isn't common in any other champion in the league, I should say, where the ability scales with how much distance it goes. And that's distance when it hits the target from Nidalee. So, a Nidalee launching a javelin at Viraleus, who runs forward, would actually do less damage than one running backwards. So Nidalee is, with that Q, is definitely designed to be your launch a spear at max range style champion. Viraleus going quite aggressive right now, getting a good stun onto Tibs, flamethrower as well. But
and he actually misses the spear.
Missing the Q. So Tibs will take that harassment for no return.
Seeing from the ability power in runes and masteries that Tibs got, he's actually going AD. He got 0 ability power.
Well, yeah, I scouted out his mastery page just beforehand. I believe it has something along the lines of 15 additional attack damage with about 48 armor or something ridiculous. A large amount of armor.
Which actually wouldn't help at all against an Annie, but...
It didn't help against an Annie, but as I may have previously mentioned, I can't remember, if Tibs ends up harassing Annie with auto attacks and those minions turn on him, then those minions won't be doing a lot of damage whatsoever.
Yeah, definitely.
It's kind of like a Fizz passive or an Amumu Tantrum passive.
Yeah.
Viraleus actually having that stun, zoning out Tibs rather nicely. Good stun and into flamethrower again. Tibs actually mana starved right now, so it's not a lot he can do to harass.
And he isn't leveling that harass, even he's just leveling his attack speed / heal.
Yeah, that heal is certainly helping in the lane, but launching those spears into a brush that no one's in is certainly not going to help out. Viraleus getting the stun off once again, certainly utilising Annie's passive to its fullest extent, but Tibs using a couple of auto attacks to harass back. Tibs is down to 1 health pot right now, Viraleus still has 2 of his, but Viraleus doesn't have that much mana left. Granted, he has a fair amount compared to Tibs, but Viraleus needs to burn that combo quite a lot in order to do that burst damage down onto Tibs.
They got around the same mana, but with the passive of Annie, it's actually not the passive, but the passive on the Fireball, regaining its mana if it's the last hit, that just not only gains so much last hits, but it also preserves mana really well.
Absolutely. Viraleus actually farming quite nicely. In fact, both champions are. They're both sitting around about the 30 minion mark. Quite even right now, although I may give the edge to Viraleus just because Tibs is constantly mana starved. He's only got enough for one, maybe two abilities before he has to wait for more than cooldowns to get enough. Viraleus has been poking down Tibs rather nicely, but Tibs has been pushing the lane rather nicely as well. So the first tower is down to about half health. Tibs needs to keep on doing exactly what he's doing in order to push down this first turret. And what's quite interesting right now is that all of the purple team champions do end up having the slight advantage. Blue has not won a game yet, and I may end up giving the advantage to Tibs. Both people actually hitting level 6 at the same time, so we could see a Tibbers. Oh, do we see a Tibbers? No, we don't see a Tibbers.
Yeah, it's actually very good from Viraleus. He saw he wasn't going to make it. Tibbers is the kind of thing used to get that kill in, to really assure the kill, and not to like pop up just because you want to try something from full health to 0.
Absolutely. Tibbers, that I'm not looking at Tibbers. There we go, that's Tibbers. He's currently doing 225 magic damage, and on a Tibs, who isn't Tibbers, with 30 magic resist. Oh, and this could be a nice turnaround by Tibs, and good amount of harassment by Tibs onto Viraleus.
This is going to be hard later on when Tibs gets stunned by the Tibbers.
Tibs gets stunned by Tibbers, absolutely.
Luckily, it isn't Tibs' Tibbers.
Absolutely. So Viraleus has ended up choking down his last health pot, and now Nidalee will be able to out-sustain very nicely, seeing as she is the champion with that heal ability, and she has a good zoning technique with that potential threat of a javelin throw.
Yeah, as long as she can keep her mana up, it's okay, but if she has to use all her mana to just use the heal, miss the spears, in the end it's not going to go good.
Yeah. But at this stage, Tibs can just completely turn around, turn into Cougar form, and just harass for free, because of course Nidalee's mana costs are inexistent in Cougar form, and that's a pretty good way to conserve that mana and lay down some harassment and lane push at the same time. Both champions are doing relatively well. Both of them are actually 53, 54 creeps. This is a testament to Viraleus, who has been tower farming for the majority of the game. Nicely farmed by him. It'll be interesting to see if he would be ahead, assuming that the minion wave stayed in the mid lane. Oh, for some reason that decided to bug out, and I didn't see Viraleus use that Q. Very nice.
Yeah, same.
Oh well. I'm expecting one of the champions will end up having to go back anytime soon. Viraleus is actually hitting level 8 first, which is exceptionally interesting. Let's see what he's ending up skilling first. He's going for the Q first. Nice bread and butter ability for Annie. And it looks like he's scaling that a W second, definitely going for that burst down combo.
He's actually going for the safe farming method. The W does quite a lot more damage in the end, but the Q is just good for last hitting minions with that passive on it, just the passive from mana regain and mana management. So normally you do level the W because of just the plain damage, but I can see in this game where you are up against just one opponent, nothing else, you need that mana sustain, and that's probably why he's going to Q.
It also makes sense going for a farming style objective when in this context, down goes Tibbers under tower, nice stun as well, first blood. I did not see that coming. Fantastic play by Viraleus, and that has just opened things up. Blue getting the first kill in this game.
Viraleus just waited for that failure from Tibs. He walked 1 second under that tower. The tower engaged him right on top of his head. Tibs got dropped, stunned, got some towers, and Tibs on his head. The fireball came out, the wave of fire came out. It's really hard for Nidalee to overlive that.
That was just such a brilliant timing on Tibs, getting that stun down, getting the ignite off so she couldn't heal. Really nice play by Viraleus. So Viraleus ends up going for the Sorcerer's Shoes, the Catalyst, the Doran's Ring, and a couple of health pots, whereas her counterpart, Nidalee, who's actually taking a buff and possibly wasting some minion farm, deciding to go for a Hex Drinker.
That's a really good item. Really good choice from Tibs there. That shield is just what you need.
Absolutely, I can understand the shield certainly helping out, but also as an AD champion, I suppose Hex Drinker is rather nice. Of course, it ends up building from a longsword. Nice stun into Flamethrower onto Tibs as well. But Tibs, with that blue buff, can constantly spam that heal. He'll be just so sustainable in that mid lane. Tibs, the only champion so far actually going for that, for just neutral buffs in general.
Well, at this point, with the Cataclysm up Franny, she doesn't need to go back. She will level up too fast to get out of mana. Actually, second Tibs is coming out
again.
Not as effective as first one.
Tibs not quite underneath the tower, and unfortunately, Tibs, I wouldn't say it's wasted. It has reduced Tibs down to half health and a little bit mana soft, but that blue buff will sort out all of those issues. Just look at how much health he's regenerating with that E. Completely insane amount.
Yeah, definitely. And also with the increased magic resist from that Hex Drinker, you can almost certainly address the last damage taken also to that a bit.
Absolutely. So Viraleus certainly doing a nice amount of damage right now. Granted, he doesn't have any type of ability power aside from runes and masteries, but he does have Sorcerer's Shoes, which is a really nice item in the early stage of the game. It'll end up reducing Tibs' mana... Sorry. Just had a slight mental mind blank. It'll end up reducing the magic resist of Tibs by a good 20. And seeing as Tibs currently has 72 mana, of course, it's not mana, it's magic resist. I am failing this game. He's got 30 magic resist from the Hex Drinker, so that Sorcerer's Shoes, I wouldn't go as far as saying it completely nullifies it, but it certainly helps cutting its way through.
Yeah, certainly. But like I said before, as long as Nidalee got that buff, it's gonna be really hard to get her down.
But now Nidalee has lost that buff, started chugging mana pots, and is not in a good position mana-wise. Viraleus has a lot of mana at his disposal. Tibs is currently... Hang on, there we go. Tibs is ready and waiting. Viraleus just waiting for that stun to engage onto Tibs. Tibs is actually going to engage instead. Stun is ready, but Tibs ends up backing off with a bit of mana. Viraleus down goes the Q, down goes Tibs, loads of damage going down, and Ignite as well. Tibs so very low, the Ignite's still on him. He is trying to escape. He ends up healing himself. He will be able to escape this just because Nidalee is so darn quick. And that burst capability from Viraleus, very nice play.
You saw the Hex Drinker buff coming up, and that's the difference with Hex Drinker, no Hex Drinker. It definitely would have been a kill if he didn't buy the Hex Drinker there.
Absolutely. And this does not look like a tower down just yet. If Viraleus can clean up this mini wave quickly, then it would be. But Tibs is just taking a tremendous amount. It's actually,
and a second wave.
It's actually tower down. My bad completely. The tower gets completely tanked by Tibs, and Viraleus is ahead in kills and towers. Tibs not in a good place right now.
Tibs tank OP, I'm telling you.
Absolutely. He comes down with a great big fireball crater, and then just walks about tanking towers. That's life. Viraleus now actually has a bit of ability power. Now he will start hurting Tibs. Tibs didn't actually buy any items when he went back. He just got a couple more health pots and mana pots, but just Viraleus ending up coming back with a very nice 60 ability power. With that 20 magic penetration and whatever he has in runes and masteries, that is going to hurt a lot of Tibs. Even that Q's doing a fair amount of damage.
Well, he did level the Q first, so it's not...
Indeed.
It should do damage, let's put it that way.
Ooh.
Tower going there now, nothing Viraleus could do.
Yeah, he didn't have a stun available, and he does now. He has Tibbers in 5 seconds. He will be ready to engage very shortly. Just waiting on that stun. Oh,
I don't think he will put it up. Tibbs is full health. Yeah, he got that little sustain again.
Now Viraleus has that stun. Now he can do the combo. Tibbers is up, Q is up, flamethrower's up. The defensive ball will be up.
I don't think it will kill him though. There we go.
Oh, the flamethrower I think just missed.
But not at all. Even with the flame, it wouldn't be killed. The Hex Trinket didn't even pop off.
Yeah.
Is it still on cooldown? No, it's off cooldown. So, if you
really
look at
do
Hex Trinket...
Tibbs getting mana starved, a nice amount of damage from flamethrower, but not a lot.
If you look at a mana drinker, that's another 250 magic damage.
Absolutely. Tibbs is getting harassed a lot right now. Health starved, mana starved, and Viraleus is coming with mana and with health. This tower is getting pushed. It's not a good place for Tibbs to be. If Viraleus cleans up this minion wave very quickly, he's got another one and as backup. He's just going to go onto Tibbs. Ignite goes down. Viraleus taking tower damage. Ignite on Tibbs. But Tibbs heals himself, he will be fine. Viraleus wanting to go on this, but not a good place to be.
They're just
this is
playing with balls, playing with steel,
right
going on each other, 100 health at a time. But if he gets the tower down, it's GG. It doesn't... it might be even.
It will be towered down. It looks like Viraleus will end up taking the first game of this losers bracket. There we have it. GG for Viraleus, a nice play. Overall, commiserations to Tibbs, and we'll see you very shortly for game 2. So, the second of the lower bracket semi-final, sorry, what am I saying? It's the lower bracket final, is about to be underway. This will determine who is in third place, taking home 5 euros of Riot points and a bronze medal on the forum, and who gets to fight forgotten his name. Awesome. Levaid.
Okay.
Levaid, yeah. And if Viraleus ends up winning this, then he'll be up against Levaid in the final to fight it out for the gold forum prize and 10 euros of Riot points. Second place taking home silver medal. Now, a bit of backstory between these two, because we didn't actually mention it last time. Viraleus actually got knocked out into the losers bracket by Tibbs in the third round of the upper bracket. So Viraleus has got a bit of bad blood against Tibbs possibly. That possibly drive home the advantage in game 1. 1-0 advantage for Viraleus.
It was close though. Last time they played against each other, it was a 2-1 advantage for Viraleus, and they were actually going up like bosses, and first blood picked up by Darius. That heal OP, man. I think Viraleus didn't. At least he didn't expect it at that time.
Okay, my computer decided to lag out with loading, so I'm just going to fall back a second and actually watch this first blood just for the vlog people.
Okay, yeah.
Go ahead and commentate live. I'll catch up very shortly.
Okay. So, this is a quite exciting start. With no minions even spawned, the first blood coming out from Tibbs, which is the best start he could hope for in a million years. Getting that first blood right on top, getting the minions in right now, zoning Viraleus actually, this is a dream start for the comeback from Tibs.
Absolutely, and I'm now live. That was a nice apprehend, followed into the spin to win, which I've forgotten the name of. I believe it's called Decimate, is it? Let's have a quick look. Yes, it is. It is Decimate. This is a very nice advantage for Tibs. And I believe in that first blood fight, it was that Ignite that stopped Viraleus from utilising that heal to its fullest extent. Tibs used that heal early, so when the Ignite ended up going down, it did not nullify that heal. But when Viraleus had an Ignite on him, he just couldn't heal out of it, even if he wanted to. And to be honest, it was a clever play, saving that heal for the possible next engage. Viraleus now down to tower farming, hoping for the best from this. If the last game is anything to go by, he's a pretty good tower farmer, but then again, he was playing as an Annie that pretty much had a continual mana supply with that passive from Q. A nice apprehend onto 2 caster minions, that's how you want to play the game. Viraleus now level 3, taking a bit of bleed from hemorrhage, but nothing too severe. 5 stacks of hemorrhage, then you need to start worrying. Then you actually see it on your health bar. Not a nice amount at all, but that you saw on your health bar. Decimate doing an insane amount of damage if you hit with the axe part of it. Viraleus trying to go in, but there's just not a lot he can do. To trade, Tibs just has way too much armor. He's currently sitting on 80... Am I seeing that right? He started with the cloth armor as well. 82 starting armor. Are you kidding me, Viraleus? It's not Viraleus, it's Tibs. Viraleus actually going in under tower as well, and Tibs picks up a second kill. This match could be over before it even starts. 4 minutes in, 2 for 0, and Tibs has double the gold compared to Viraleus.
This is going so easy with Tibs from now on. With that early kill and just breezing through it right now. They've actually got exactly the same items at this point, but like mentioned before, Tibs got that armor up in his rune page as well. So
absolutely. Riven having the same amount of items. Tibs currently has 86 armor. Riven, who has not a lot of armor in her rune page, currently sitting on 64. That is a big armor difference. That's a lot of damage reduction onto Tibs, who has actually turned that armor and boots into a Ninja Tabby. Very nice item.
Really good, really good. And going for that Doran's Blade after as well, that's an extra 10 damage, plus 80 health and 3 life steal.
And Ninja Tabby is actually a really good item up against a Riven. Riven, whose passive ends up relying on deploying those stacks on Blade of the Exile in auto attacks, forcing Viraleus to end up auto attacking Tibs, which will just be reduction in damage. And I'm actually going to cut myself off a second. So much damage! That is insane. Viraleus has been in lane for all of 15 seconds. He's already down to half health and already chugging some pots. Tibs is certainly in the driving seat.
I think this is going to be over as soon as Tibs hits 6 and he gets him one turn.
Absolutely. An apprehend into Decimate will just be insane. Viraleus actually emote spamming.
Taunting, actually.
Absolutely.
That's great.
We can... Nice Decimate. We can check out an apprehend right now. Loads of damage onto Viraleus, but Viraleus bouncy enough to get away from it. Actually popping down the last health pot of his as well.
Is he going back? Or not? He's just standing behind the tower doing nothing.
Yeah, this is not a good time to end up going back. Granted, he could end up getting tower dive, but I wouldn't recommend it for Tibs, seeing as, well, he is under tower and could be taking a bit of damage, but Viraleus couldn't have gone back, otherwise minions would have had free push onto his turret. And of course, that's another objective in this game. First to 2 turrets or first to 3 kills. So if Viraleus ends up going back, there would have been no defense for his turret. So it's not a good time to go back. Once this mini wave is cleared, then possibly it'll be a good time because he would have had his own mini wave to compensate.
Yeah, on the other hand, I don't think Viraleus' main objective at this point is to save his turret, but rather to save his life.
That is a good point. So Tibs currently waiting for an opportunity to strike onto Viraleus. Of course, he still has his Noxian Guillotine up and ready, but of course you don't want to initiate with that. There was actually a low-level Cho'Gath that I saw the other day who decided to initiate with Feast, Noxian Guillotine and an Ignite as well. Not a lot of damage and not a kill shot. That Noxian Guillotine will be on cooldown for quite some time. Viraleus actually surviving.
Yeah, but still, it's a forcive action. Viraleus probably has to go back the next time, and Tibs will get the.
What is Tibs doing? Tibs actually baiting out a bit of action and a health bait as well.
Great. Oh, Tibs, you troll. You troll.
Tibs trying to make it a bit competitive. Tibs actually mana starved right now. If Viraleus had the... I don't know, if he had the skills, then he may be able to act on this, but all summoners are down, and Tibs is a tad bit mana starved. Possibly trying to make it a bit more competitive? I don't know.
And he was trying the same as with the first skill. He was trying to get the Ignite off before he could heal, but this time it wasn't in time.
Yeah. So both champions are relatively low, but Tibs, of course, having the damage reduction and just the bigger health bar is certainly benefiting from this the most. Tibs actually has quite a low mana cost on that Decimate, so even though he looked relatively mana starved, he still had enough for a Decimate, so if Viraleus ended up going in, that would have been one dead Riven and GG, because of course, one wrong move from Viraleus, and he would have given up the game.
Yeah, and Noxian Guillotine is actually back up again now.
A nice apprehend onto 3 melee minions. That's always what you want to do.
Noxian Guillotine has 100 mana cost, so he can do it. It's the only thing he can do at this point, so yeah. I'm not sure what he's going to do.
Seeing as Noxian Guillotine ends up stacking with stacks of Hemorrhage as well. Oh, what's Tibs doing? Tibs could end up picking up a kill here, but minions may end up securing it. Tibs being very cautious indeed. I suppose Viraleus may have got it, but he just didn't have the... Oh.
Great play from Viraleus, stunning before the ultimate.
That was a deceptive amount of health. Nice play by Viraleus, utilising that shield to its fullest extent as well. And Tibs ends up expending that Noxian Guillotine. This is a possible lifeline for Viraleus, but then again, one wrong move and he still would have given up that game. Dicey play indeed.
And it's still 1 point... Sorry. 1.2k gold in advantage of Tibs at this point. Viraleus is probably going back now to buy stuff. Let's see what's coming out.
He certainly needs something. He can't play the entire game just on boots and cloth armor. So Darius ends up going back and picking up a Phage. That's quite a nice item. Possibly to turn into a frozen mallet. That would make sense on Tibs, I suppose.
At some point, yeah.
Viraleus bouncing out of the gate with style, picking up a Vampiric Scepter, Doran's Blade, long sword, and a couple of pots as well. So that's quite nice because Riven, all of her skills end up scaling with AD, I suppose, except for the shield. But who's ever seen an AP Riven? Being perfectly honest, has anyone seen an AP Riven? If you have, say in the chat box because I'd like to talk to that person. As it turns out, everything scales with AD, so AP Riven makes completely no sense whatsoever. So
chat box AP.
Absolutely. So the fact that he has that Vampiric Scepter, a very nice item indeed, meaning that all of his skills also recharge a bit of that health as well. That health bar also important to combat that Hemorrhage and to combat that Noxian Guillotine.
Yeah,
and of course, general survival in this game.
It's the thing you get with health, yeah. Tibs actually standing still to provoke Viraleus again, but it didn't work this time.
Well, it only worked last time because he took 4 tower turrets to the face, so let's see if he ends up doing the same. And a nice apprehend into a Decimate, a nice amount of damage onto Viraleus with 3 stacks of Hemorrhage, 5 stacks of Hemorrhage, and now Viraleus is beginning to see that health bar go.
Decimate into mult. Oh, and he got the kill.
And there we have it. GG. It's 1-1 in this game.
Anyways, if you want, tell it. I'll PM you after. Okay, let's get the chat off then.
Very nice indeed. Oh, hang on. Oh. Do we have action? We do indeed have action. My computer decided to take its time.
Yeah, I'm fucking up as well.
A rather nice job.
I'm fucking up as well.
So, both champions deciding to go for the cloth armor and pots. Tibs currently starting on 68 armor. That's an insane amount. Compared to Viraleus, who is only on 56. I'm saying like that 56 is a bad amount. 56 is respectable by all accounts possible. But Tibs has decided to stack the armor so much. I mean, he's gone for a mastery page that is akin to a Rammus rune page, if I'm being perfectly honest. Viraleus getting a nice amount of harassment onto Tibs, and Tibs, even with that armor, not doing
taking
too
more
well.
damage actually.
He is indeed. Viraleus. In fact, both people are currently farming the same, but then again, there has only been one creep wave, so it's quite difficult to talk about farming at this early stage of the game. Viraleus just missing that out. Blue balls flying everywhere.
Blue ball slows coming out, then the other dashes, the shield dash is coming out at level 3 probably.
Oh. Both
This
people
is just
using
great
safeguard
watch.
at the same time. This is a completely insane fight, and Tibs actually with the slight advantage. Viraleus deciding to pop a health pot for the first time. And there's just abilities flying all over the place. If there was a Maokai here, he would be having his passive up so quickly. Same about Cassidin and that Vorpal buff. Abilities just flying about all over the place, just so constantly. It's actually quite difficult to commentate about it because so much is bleeding happening at the same time. One Lee Sin jumps in, the other one does as well. Oh, look at that, he jumps about.
At this point though, Tibs is getting more harassing, more lost hits in definitely, and he's pushing the lane, so...
Absolutely. Viraleus having quite a nice job in trying to push down this lane. Oh, a nice harassment onto Tibs. Tibs not in a good place right now, but the slow did go down to Viraleus rather than Tibs. Tibs popping the second health potion. Blue ball of doom just missing. Tibs could be going in on this. In fact, Viraleus is as well. Viraleus doing a nice amount of poke damage, but Tibs ends up just being so sustainable. He has a good amount of health pots, actually down to 2 right now. And Tibs is actually losing this engagement by quite a bit. That attack damage and armor pen is certainly an advantage for Viraleus.
Yeah, Tibs also did miss quite a lot of skill shots there.
Yeah.
Definitely
Wow.
with Lee Sin, the engage is definitely something you want to do with your Q, or at least the follow-up. And if you don't hit that like 2 or 3 times in a row, it isn't beneficial for your gameplay.
And that was very nice play by Viraleus, if I'm being perfectly honest. He did just whack down an ignite onto Tibs just before he used summon a heal. Brilliant play cutting down that heal. Nice job. Viraleus currently has 11 armor penetration plus 10%. That is a shed load of armor penetration, reducing his armor to about 45 of that 60. Actually, hang on. Tibs is currently on 81 armor. So, what does that mean? No, 71 armor. Take off 11, that means 60. Take off an additional 10%, he's down to 54. Suddenly that stack in armor doesn't seem too great. That is probably a reason why Tibs is struggling so far.
Yeah, definitely. That plus just the general thing that...
First blood
blood
goes
going
down
on.
for Viraleus. Will he be able to escape?
Oh,
And
great
Ignite is
safeguard.
still there. And that
Great
shield.
safeguard. And actually the pen going off on Viraleus.
Viraleus escaping with 20 health. That is clutchly in play. He's the first one to get his Dragon Kick of Doom. Tibs is still level 5. Nice job by Viraleus to force that early game kill. Tibs deciding to go back and get a Vampiric Steps, a very nice sustainable item. Whereas in the meantime, Viraleus deciding to go for health pots and a Doran's Blade. Sorry,
I
and
think,
boots.
yeah, I think actually it was quite clever what Tibs did, but he just didn't get away with it. He went forward, then got hit by a Q, and then safeguarded back under his tower, so Viraleus would take a lot of tower hits. And but unfortunately, he took much damage as well with that armor penetration and all the other spells of Viraleus going off.
Absolutely. And just a little side note, Viraleus... Hang on. Yeah, Viraleus is actually the new division leader for Nordic and East. Just want to make sure I got that right before I make a complete fool of myself again, the wrong person, but...
Yeah, he is.
This could be a nice psychological factor to it. Tibs going for his own red buff, and Viraleus is actually going to try and go for a slight steal. Doesn't quite get it in time, but that was so very close to being a steal. Viraleus actually on the chase, possibly going to counter jungle a bit. On second thought, no, he won't. Nice logical play by Viraleus, if being perfectly honest. Good play by the Blue Sleeve Sim. Tibs doesn't have the cooldowns on his side, and Viraleus actually going on this, doing a nice amount of damage onto Tibs. Viraleus just having that slight advantage really helps Lee Sin be Lee Sin off. Viraleus having to back off, trying to juke around from that Q, getting knocked back towards tower, but Viraleus not able to catch up with the blue ball.
I actually think what Viraleus just did with Mind Boots is very smart, because when you are the same champion and you don't have a movement speed runs, you are going to be at the same speed. And definitely with the flow coming into the phase, it's just a thing where if you're like 1 meter away from a kill, you just can't get to it because you got the same skills and the same movement speed, and you don't catch up with it. But now
Viraleus
with
going
the
in
advantage,
and actually pouncing out straight away. Very nice play by Viraleus, very flashy indeed. We tried to do the same. Very nice play by Tibs to pounce to a creep, forcing him to take a bit of damage. Tibs currently on not a lot of life. Currently having to chug those health pots for that miss for sustain. If Viraleus can land a blue ball, then I can expect he would go in, but I just don't think this is a good chance to go in. Because as soon as Viraleus tries to go in, Tibs can pounce to one of his friendly minions, force Viraleus to take a tower hit or two, and that could be the first death for Viraleus of the game. Very interesting matchup right now. And Tibs actually going into Viraleus. Viraleus going down. Both Lee Sins kicking each other to the opposite turret at the same time. Ignite ticking down, and that makes it 1-1. Tibs is back into this one. Very nice play indeed by the Tibs.
Yeah, definitely. As soon as he had that Q, Viraleus was just down at that point. So he tried to make best out of it with the burst damage, the ultimate coming out, but he just didn't make it in time.
Absolutely. Now, what is... Viraleus is actually going for the double Doran strategy, but Tibs, who hasn't been back on board, Tibs is actually out farming, so there is a 200 gold advantage in favour of Tibs. And it is actually 200, not a rounded 200 either. Tibs going back, picking up that Wriggles Lantern, that is going to make pushing the lane exceptionally easy, especially on Lee Sin, who gets that attack speed boost whenever he uses a skill. That will clean the wave rather nicely and push down the tower, which of course is another objective to win the game. Second tower or first to 3 kills.
Viraleus is actually messing SQ on the minions there. And what coming out? Okay, 2 wards coming out, 3 wards coming out. It's actually, this is a clever play.
Tibs warding up the location so he can actually jump to it with the safeguard, and Viraleus will have none idea.
Well, Viraleus had the vision of, I think, 2 of the spots. Not sure about the 3rd one. so he should know there are wards around there. But yeah, it's definitely a great advantage to have those around.
And now that Tibs has those boots, he can pretty much catch up to Viraleus, and if need be, he can safeguard to one of those wards and then kick him backwards. Very nice indeed. Viraleus actually trying to go in on this. Both heals going down, both being kicked at the same time. Viraleus going back in. Tibs having to safeguard to a minion, and Ignite goes down onto a minion instead of Tibs. Both champions doing exactly the same at the same time.
This is just great to watch. Second turn, both Lee Sins kicked each other exactly the right time.
Tibs actually doing a bit of counter jungling right now. Rather interesting play. And that Wriggles Lantern is certainly helping him sustain, especially with that Iron Will, the second part of Safeguard. Viraleus heading towards his own red buff. Will he end up collecting it? Yes, he will. No, yes, he will. Tibs actually trying to go round and claim it for his own.
This will be
Viraleus could end up walking into him.
Oh, Viraleus doesn't know. He does now.
Viraleus actually claims the red buff. Nice play, but it's 1v1. Tibs does have a level advantage and skill advantage. Ignite goes down to Viraleus. Viraleus is going to go down 2 for 1 for Tibs. Tibs does certainly have the advantage and the red buff and the creep score. He's looking good so far.
Definitely, definitely. So 2-1 up now for Tibs. It's gonna be a close one, this one. But Tibs just seems in a spot to really push it to limit and get that third kill in, especially with the diversity of the options with the wards he put down.
Absolutely. So Viraleus currently level 9, least the other Lee Sin, Tibs, currently has a level 2 Dragon Rage. That is definitely going to hurt Viraleus. Viraleus currently sitting on 63 creeps and he's currently level 9. This is not a good place for Viraleus to be. Tibs taking a bit of tower damage, but he doesn't really mind about that because he's Lee Sin. And Lee Sin is the most overpowered champion in the game.
Not really, but not anymore at least. He was.
If played well, Lee Sin can be an absolute terror. But, well.
Isn't that what all the champions?
I suppose you have a point. Some more than others. I mean,
yeah, definitely.
If anyone picks Evelyn, it's an instant troll pick. You suck, GG, get reported. Now, all of the wards that Tibs has placed are now down, which means that Wriggles' ward is also back. He can place that if need be to try and escape. Tibs kicking back, not even a kickback, he was actually trying to force Viraleus back. Both Lee Sins do have their kick. Viraleus trying to go in on this. Tibs taking a fair amount of poke damage and having to choke his final health pot. Possibly going to end up going back after jungling this creep camp. No, he's just going to genuinely go back. Oh, Tibs actually going in on this. Blue ball by Viraleus actually picking up a minion instead of actually Tibs.
It's a great game to watch though, because of all the Lee Sins flying around. It's a quick game, quick action going on. Both Lee Sins kicking each other at the same time. It's a go for mania.
Viraleus is still 2 levels underneath Tibs right now, and Tibs is doing rather well in keeping Viraleus that low. He's zoning out rather nicely. Whenever he goes in for a creep, he's harassing quite nicely. Although, it will take a lot to actually burst each other down. Both champions are level 11 and 12. And let's see how much gold they have in hand. They currently have 750 and 1600 respectively. So, Tibs has enough for a decent part of an item. Viraleus has enough for a little part of an item. I just don't think it'll be easy for either one of them to get the items needed to destroy each other with ease. I think that will take a good case of serious outplay for one of them to outsmart the other and pick up one of those kills.
Well, they have definitely shown to play with balls sometimes, so I think some spectacular things could happen.
Absolutely. Tibs currently safeguarding rather nicely. Let's have a quick look at what people are skilling first. That is, if I could click on them and they stop bouncing about. Viraleus maxing the Q, followed up by the safeguard. Tibs maxing the Q, followed up by the safeguard with 2 points in cripple.
Yep.
It's pretty much exactly the same when it comes to iteming their champions and skilling them as well.
You could say that it's almost a pure skill fight.
You could say this. Lee Sin v Lee Sin is the closest thing I can think of in a game of LoL when it comes to a skill fight. But yeah, there are so many other variables such as runes, masteries. If we ended up doing a 1v1 tournament where we picked a single champion and you weren't allowed any runes or masteries, then that would be a skill fight.
Yeah, but in comparison, I mean, they
Tibs
have
actually
the same champions, about the same runes, about the same masteries, same build, same personas.
Yeah.
They're not so much different. Yes, they are a little bit, but
Tibs and Viraleus just going to town on each other. Both of them quite low on energy. And whenever I play Lee Sin, I can never seem to dump my energy quick enough. I always seem to have about 120 energy left. Just not using my skills quick enough.
yeah, probably.
Tibs actually being the bigger man and going back. This does leave a mini wave to push down his turret. On the other hand, the opportunity cost of him.
It's a poor timing, I think.
And this could be the turret down. Yes, it is. Viraleus ahead in turrets, whereas Tibs is ahead in kills.
I think that was really poor timing to go back. He didn't need to go back. He had enough health left. And the wave was just pushing. You could have seen this coming from the minute he started to go back. So, not a great job by Tibs here.
Absolutely, but Viraleus picking up his red buff. Tibs deciding to go back, pick up a Sheen, 2 Doran's Blades, and a health pot. So rather nice item selection that he's got going on. That Wriggles Lantern having that nice sustainability and armor. The Sheen is rather nice. He's going to get that extra attack damage each time he uses a skill, which, because he's Lee Sin, is quite often. 2 Doran's Blades just for standard lifesteal and attack damage purposes. Both Lee Sins going in on each other, actually standing on top of each other at the same time. You know, what I would like to see is if both Lee Sins queue each other, then they kick each other away, and then they second queue each other again. Now
Yeah,
that would be fun to watch.
That would be awesome. Pressure coming in from Tibs again. Getting some resin on Viraleus.
Now this could actually be the first long game that we have going on. Tibs just waiting for a mistake for Viraleus to claim that victory, but Viraleus possibly playing the long game right now, waiting for Tibs to eventually have to go back to push down a turret or two.
Or 2, yeah.
Well, I say that. It's a figure of speech, just go with it.
Go with the flow, yeah. But as you can see, the tower, first tower for Viraleus is quite low as well. As soon as he has to go back in either due to too low health or at a slightly pushing way,
Absolutely.
I think Tibs can just take it easily.
Tibs actually has a lot of lifesteal going on right now, and that Iron Will is such a bread and butter ability for both Lee Sin champions. Viraleus actually going in, Tibs getting slowed down due to red buff and missing his own Q. Nice amount of lifesteal, and shields are just constantly popping. If there was a statistic for amount of spells used in a game, I would like to see this.
Yeah, definitely.
It's just bouncing everywhere, it's like a game of Pong. Viraleus actually not farming up, which is always what you want to do. You always want to let your tower get the kill so he can turn into a late game AD carry.
Definitely, yeah.
Viraleus actually on the
really.
receiving end of this poke damage. Tibs leveling up to 15. This is quite a long game going on right now. Just 20 minutes of flat out farming with 3 kills and the tower going down.
This is where the tower is getting hit and probably goes down.
Not a lot Viraleus can do to stop this, and Viraleus trying to make something happen, but Tibs ends up pushing down that turret. Both second turrets are exposed, and Tibs still needs just 1 kill to pick up the victory.
This was just the example of a 1v1 in lane Wriggles Lantern pushing power. You can see how easily Tibs pushes his lane in contradiction to Viraleus. And he just doesn't care, he just pushes the tower down to 50%.
Absolutely. One more minion wave like that and it's going to be tough for Viraleus to hold it. In fact, he doesn't have a second minion wave incoming. Tibs is pushing down this minion wave quite nicely. Viraleus is actually on the receiving end of this as well. Tibs could end up going in on this. It would be quite interesting.
This could be game actually if he
plays it right.
If he plays it right.
No, it's not going to happen this minion wave, but the next minion wave is going to be horrible for Viraleus, seeing as this creep wave is going to be destroyed by Tibs once he gets onto it, but Viraleus has to go back at some point to pick up an item, but once he does, that tower's going down. He's got 3,000 gold to spend. 3,000 and unable to spend it because he's currently babysitting a turret. An interesting late game stage in this 1v1. Tibs taking a tower hit is not actually enough to stop the safeguard. Has he leveled up safeguard to level 5? That is a caster minion. Yes. Okay, Tibs has leveled up safeguard to level 5, as has Viraleus. But Tibs does have the level 3 kick. And actually kicking Viraleus back. This could be GG, and Ignite goes down. A nice kick back. Will Viraleus survive? No, he won't. There we have it. GG. Tibs wins the lower bracket final and progresses to the overall final to be up against the person. Yeah.
That other person.